Looking for a fun way to win 25 times your money this football and basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/play100 and use code PLAY100. That's code PLAY100 at prizepicks.com/play100 for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
So our friend Damon Hack just celebrated a decade with Golf Channel. Damon right now, among his many duties, one of them the co-host of Golf Today, many times with our friend Eamon Lynch from Golf Week. Damon is the father of 3 boys, triplets. Had Damon on the show to talk about the news of the elevated status of 4 more golf tournaments in 2023. Here's the conversation that I had with Damon Hack from Golf Channel.
John, I'm doing great. It's been quite the 2022 season, hasn't it?
It has. Let me ask you this, though, first. How are the triplets?
Oh, the boys are doing well. You know, I can't keep them off the tennis court these days. They play a little bit of golf, but tennis right now is taking over as the #1 sport in the house. They're 6th graders now, good students, and really good tennis players.
Getting easier to round up the triplets?
It is. As long as we can keep them in the same sport and on the same schedule, I think we're going to be okay. There's not much easy about raising triplets, especially when you think about having one big college bill a few years from now. But right now, things are still a lot of fun.
It is. That's what we all think about when somebody says twins or triplets. You know, they're all going to school 100%. At the same time.
Exactly.
Hey, tell me about this. You were at an event last week in California with Tiger. Tell me about that event.
Yeah, it was the first of its kind TGR Junior Invitational put on by his TGR Foundation, formerly known as the Tiger Woods Foundation. Had a bunch of boys and girls from around the world, and you have folks coming in from, you know, not just California, and you had some folks from Salinas and Monterey and Southern California, but a young man from Thailand and folks from Georgia and South Carolina all playing a wonderful tournament at the Hay, which was the small golf course, par 3 that Tiger redesigned, and then they got to play the links at Spanish Bay, and also got to spend some time with Tiger himself. Tiger's folks asked me to come MC parts of the dinner, Q&A portion with the parents and the kids. And it was neat to see Tiger healthy, happy. He's really beaming when he's around children. In a lot of ways, he did not have a normal childhood, so I think he's very comfortable around young people who are strivers in golf, strivers in the classroom, and strivers in life.
From a golf perspective, what do you expect out of him? How much more do you think we'll see him?
I think it'll be a limited schedule, but, man, I got to watch some video of him hitting. I got to see him putt in person and hit some short game shots. But I tell you what, I also shook his hand and at one point even gave him a hug. And he has not missed arm and chest day. That's for sure. He's built. He's strong. His mind was very evident. The big question will be, can his body handle the long walks and the undulating golf courses? But I tell you what, he seemed to be in good spirits. Someone joked with him that major 16, 17, 18 can't be far behind, and he did not wave anybody off when they raised the expectation level for Tiger. We'll see him with his son Charlie, as we so often do in December at the PNC Championship in Orlando. But we'll also see him at a handful of majors, I would think. And I'm never going to count that guy out again after what we saw in 2019 at the Masters.
We mentioned our friend Eamon Lynch. He broke news earlier this week. Next year's 4 quote-unquote elevated events on tour. Phoenix, like it needs more people. Hilton Head, Wells Fargo at Quail Hollow, and the Travelers. What did you think of those 4 choices?
Yeah, geographically diverse as far as the calendar goes. You know, you'll get the early start of the year in February, opposite the Super Bowl, which is going to be held in Glendale, Arizona. As you mentioned already, it's one of the biggest parties of the year, the WM Phoenix Open. That'll only be rowdier. Interesting that two of the starts will be directly after major championships. We'll have the RBC, the Heritage at Hilton Head elevated, as well as the Travelers, wonderful fans, great amphitheater finish in Cromwell, Connecticut, and Wells Fargo, Quill Hollow, coming off that incredible week at the President's Cup in Charlotte, where so many North Carolinians came out to support Team USA and the international team as well. It will rotate in years to come. It'll be different events that are elevated, but I think when you consider a Super Bowl and some of the wonderful stops that we've seen, traditional stops on the PGA Tour, I think it's a good start. I think the players know that they may not be able to make the schedule exactly the way they want to. They might be busy, maybe 3, 4, even 5 starts in a row, but when you're fending off a rival tour, I think it's a good first step for the PGA Tour in this new incarnation.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of statistics, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and an enormous selection of players and stat options are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million football fans who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/get100 and use code GET100. That's code GET100 at prizepicks.com/get100 for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
We're talking with Damon Hack here on the Augusta Golf Show about that, Damon, and I guess I'm thinking Jon Rahm in particular, who have expressed some reservations about more events. Are you surprised at the reaction of the players so far? I mean, I don't think they were surprised by this, but are you surprised by their reaction?
Maybe a little bit, considering that the PGA Tour has been under siege. I think it'll be very important for them, even from just from a visual standpoint and a PR standpoint, to be in lockstep and rowing in the same direction. But when you have a tour of 120-some-odd different people and different opinions, that's hard to do. I think that Jon Rahm rightfully is pushing for a little more recognition of the DP World Tour and what the Spanish Open means to him and his schedule. I'm sure Rory feels that way with the Irish Open, and there's talk that they may move the Irish Open to the fall, which would allow Rory to compete on the PGA Tour January to August and then be able to patronize some of those DP World Tour events come the fall. I think this is still going to be a work in progress. Wouldn't surprise me if events like the Genesis Scottish Open, we see a couple more that are sponsored by both the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour, so that both events can count for each tour. As well as, we heard Jordan Spieth saying, listen, not having the Colonial, for example, elevate Charles Schwab challenge, which he loves, Colonial, being a Dallas boy and wants to play in Fort Worth where he's had such success, and kind of being compelled to compete on those elevated events. He may have to play 4 or 5 in a row. We'll hear those stories, I think, here and there. For the most part, for the health of the PGA Tour, to push back against LIV and to say these are elevated $20 million purses that are geographically diverse, it gives the fan, most importantly, the opportunity to know that they will see the best players in the world more often together than apart.
Damon, do you think the folks in Ponte Vedra have been somewhat surprised by the players' reactions?
I think so, but I also think they know that at the end of the day, they have the DNA of independent contractors, which means even as they know it's probably for the betterment of the PGA Tour, they just don't like being told what to do. You mentioned Eamon Lynch. I spoke to him today, of course, on Golf Today at Golf Channel, and I said, do you think that this is a work in progress, that the tour will not rest on its laurels? And he said, absolutely. They know that this could be nipped and tucked as the years go on. We've seen the FedEx Cup change the schedule, playoff events 4 or 3. Cities are different. I think in this new era of the PGA Tour, we could see the number of required tournaments that they play or where they play. I think it'll evolve as the years go on. I think this is a smart first step to get these players competing against each other more often. I also think that things will change going forward as well.
Damon, do you have any insight into what is going to become of the tournaments we're playing now, the Napas, the Vegases, the Sea Islands? What role do they play this time next year?
Yeah, I think that'll be the place where you'll see the folks that love to play there anyway showing up. You'll see some of the next generation of young players who are striving to be in that top 20 on the PIP, where they have that kind of entree into the invitationals and the Arnold Palmers and the Memorials and the Players' Championships, for example. But I think it gives those tournament directors an opportunity, John, to distinguish themselves. What must they do to not be kind of left out and being viewed as maybe a second-tier or feeder tour event? You know, I give the folks at Zurich, for example, a lot of credit for taking a chance to become a team event and then getting Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantley wanting to play with each other, or Sam Burns and Billy Horschel. You know, you get the John Rahm and the Ryan Palmer. You know, that was a case where Zurich, not wanting to be thought of as a second-tier event, had to kind of reinvent itself. I think it gives Napa and it gives Sanderson Farms and it gives Las Vegas some opportunities to try to attract players and families. Maybe it's caddy perks or wife perks. Do something in a different way to make sure that you don't fall off the radar of some of the best players in the world.
It kind of gave me a sense of your excitement for next year at the beginning of our chat. How excited are you about 2023?
I really am. I think that this has been a year of strife and tumult in a lot of ways in professional golf, some fracturing. But I think that the PGA Tour has done right by its members by trying something different. The players said we want to play against each other more often, and that's exactly what we're going to see. I think it's going to be fascinating, especially in those elevated weeks, and I just hope that for the next few months and hopefully beyond, we don't have too many storylines about the PGA Tour hemorrhaging talent. Instead, it's about the talent, binding together to have these remarkable duels where you have Rory and Rahm and Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth on a Sunday in the gloaming on a PGA Tour. It's what I want to see. I imagine what the folks at Golf Channel want to see, and I imagine what the folks in Augusta listening want to see as well. Let's see these best players dueling more often, less red tape and courtroom talk, and more about birdies and the shots that we love to see on Sundays.
Once a writer, always a writer. I think that's the first mention of gloaming on the show this week. He is.
Occasionally, I still reach back to my old life, John. Every once in a while, I can still find that old pitch.
He is Damon Hack, co-host of Golf Today on Golf Channel, and many other things. Damon, thank you for saying yes to this. It's good to catch up with you. Have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you so much, John. Happy holidays, and speak to you soon.